Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to viewers, those streaming live, and radio listeners. Again, I would like to thank the COVID-19 Task Force and the authorities for including the Chamber of Industry and Commerce in consultations that take place regarding the business operations in the Federation and the logistics that helps to schedule these operations of the supermarkets, the small shops, and the rural area district shops and the wholesalers that have been supplying and ensuring that you have a good and steady food supply throughout our curfew and lockdown periods. The Chamber also would like to thank SCASPA regarding the cargo operations at the port, updating us on notice and guidelines that have issued regarding the management of the imported goods at the port. This has certainly helped us to facilitate the trade and business in the Federation and ensure that the essential goods, such as food and pharmaceutical products, were made available to the public in a more seamless manner without any undue delays. I also like to thank the IRD, Mr. Gift in our Revenue Department, for offering the flexibility in the payment of VAT to businesses far and wide on the island that became due last week. That has helped, did help to alleviate a lot of questions and concerns that persons had, knowing that April 15th was the due date for VAT, and in some instances the date for the tax returns for those that had closed their financial years on December 31st, 2019. We'll continue to work with the IRD and also help to alleviate challenges that many members and in general the business community are facing. Due to the consultations that we've had between the authorities, we've been able to help with improvements of the overall business community, especially those of the essential services providers, the banking sector, and the bank's hours have helped to facilitate persons needing to visit the bank, especially our senior citizens who are not as affair with the online services and do not have the gadgets and the know-how to access. So we're asking the public to please be patient with the senior citizens, especially when they're in the lines at the supermarkets and in the banks, giving preference to them so that they can get in and out as fast as possible, especially seeing that they're more prone to being infected by COVID-19 and would have a higher level of complications if they were to, unfortunately, get infected. So please, the general public needs to be aware, and the young people to be, more compliant when it comes to the older folks. In order to generate factual information, what the Chamber has done, and I think I spoke on this last week, we finally completed our economic impact survey, and that was circulated yesterday to our general membership. And this is to give us a good insight into the impact that our members and the business community in general will feel from the effects of COVID-19 over the next several months into their financial years. We'd like to offer that to those who aren't members of the Chamber, who feel that their businesses, they need some guidance, or their businesses are really going to be suffering, not sure if they'll make it through. We are willing to facilitate that survey to you also, and you can complete it and send it back out. At the end, I will give you some details on contact information so that you can reach out to the Chamber's Executive Director if you feel the need that you'd like to complete this form if you were involved in the tourism sector especially, or a spin-off from that sector. This information we'll take to government for discussion. We will have the facts, we'll have the data, and this will help government along with ourselves and any other agencies towards various actions that can help facilitate the continuity of business as we face the next several months, which will be extremely challenging, including employment. One of the areas that the Chamber would like to speak about is the impact on employment has been horrific. And it has not been easy for our members, CEOs, managers, supervisors to have to lay persons off. It's one of the most challenging periods I think we've had, to sit with board members, you know, myself included, and having to lay off your employees. It's a very difficult time for all of us, a very emotional time, and also a time when the business has to direct you, and you have to separate the emotion, and the business decides, and the pandemic makes the decisions. So this is a very difficult time for everyone. So we just wanted to say that we are all in this together, because we as owners and business executives, we don't know if our businesses would also pull through. So it's a double-edged sword. But I would like to say that as the health authorities continue to evaluate the situation, and we trust them, we have been guided by them, and as it relates to and when the sectors will open, we'll continue to be guided by the COVID-19 task force, Dr. Hazel Laws, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson, and we will do everything in our power to continue to follow those guidelines and those protocols within the business sector and communicate that using this platform and our website also. I'd like to just say about tomorrow, I think it's important that I speak to Monday, when those businesses that have permissions to reopen, and I think I'm going to leave that part to the AG so I don't give any incorrect information as to the particular sectors that can open. What I would like to say on behalf of the Chamber, that it is critical that you read Section 16, because Section 16 in the regulation speaks to the protocols and the guidelines in social distancing. So it's critical and important that those businesses that are allowed to open, we are asking all our membership and the wider business community to ensure you are ready to open. Do not open your doors if you're allowed on Monday or next week to reopen, and you need a few hours in the morning before opening, put a sign on your door, so you'll be open at midday, 1 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever it is, until you're ready. Mark your floors 6 feet apart from your cash points. Mark your floors around the area where persons line to go to the cash. Make sure no one comes in without a mask. Make sure you have a sanitizing station or a sanitization application at your front before persons come into your door, and do the same with the trolley or baskets. These are protocols that you must follow. You're going to be inspected. There's a social and physical distance compliance task force, and they might pop in unexpectedly, and if you do not pass, you might be closed. And you do not need to call the Chamber, because you need to follow the rules and you need to exercise those. So our best advice is be ready. When you are ready, then you open your door. Don't go in, open your door, and then try to get ready. Just, you know, you need to communicate to your staff. You need to have a very short, brief meeting explaining what is expected of them, and I think then you can be ready. If you need some guidance, our phone number is 465-2980. Our Executive Director, Mr. Andrew Satney, will take calls. Our actual offices, we're working from remotely. Our 3 staff are working from their homes at the moment, but we are willing to answer questions. Our website and Facebook page is sknchamber.com. We've been uploading the more recent documents there. We also have some guidelines posted on various hygiene techniques which we put out weeks ago. So please refer to those so that you can get some guidance and other guidelines on your own business on how you can manage through these very tough periods. Mr. Samuel asked me to speak a bit about yesterday and how the last 2 days went in terms of the zoning and the supermarkets. Based on what I know in terms of the flow, it seems that it was better than the previous week, and I assume, and I would want to say factually that a lot of that had to do with the replenishment and restocking of the stores, the small shops around the island. Last week we got the go-ahead, and the wholesalers were able to replenish, drive around the island, and take care of those small shops in the rural areas so that they can have the necessary cargo to sell on Thursday and Friday. So we believe that that did help, and that did help to alleviate some of the pressures on the supermarkets. Zone 1 on Thursday continues to be a larger customer base, it seems, and so the lines were especially long, but people moved along, and the forces really helped to enforce that 6-foot social distancing outside and managing that process, which is critical. So thank you to them again. Zone 2 on Friday, where the lines again were long in the morning, but really afternoon the lines had diminished and had flowed much shorter. Flow was quicker. However, inside the supermarkets, I think between 3:30 and when the closure at 5, what is happening is the essential workers come to shop, and the time is winding down, and what we find is happening is they are allowing the doors open, and so the crowds inside the stores are tighter, and so the social distancing isn't so great inside. Hopefully next week, with us being able to have 4 days of the shopping, we anticipate, and longer hours, that the social distancing inside the store would automatically be managed much better, because we won't have the crowds like before. So again, I'd just like to thank everyone, and we're here to answer any questions if you have, and please follow the protocols and guidelines going into next week. Thank you.